Hi, I'm Brian, and I'm a game show junkie. And welcome to a brand new segment I like to call Contestant's Corner. Last time, I talked about the game show Funhouse, the only kids game show to give Double Dare a run for its money. Back in 2013, I got to do an email interview with a former Funhouse contestant. So if you're ready, let's see what it was like to run through the Funhouse.
We have friends for 10 years. We've got Carrie Gorelick and Brian Pokey Pokerab.
Yes.
Now let's find out a little something about our contestant. Pokey, what was the audition process for Funhouse?
I remember we were brought into a big room with about 20 aspiring teams. They first had a list of about 20 questions that they gave us all that we had to answer. Pop culture, silly questions. And then they had us all do a little stunt. I remember it was standing across the room from your partner, balancing a ping pong ball on a spoon, and then passing it over to her and back. Kind of like those camp games. And then the final thing was in front of everybody. They brought up each team of two and asked them questions, interview stuff, like, what is your favorite sport? If you could have any wish in the world, what would it be? Etc. Basically to see the kids' personalities.
How long after the audition did you get the call to be a contestant?
Being that I was 11 years old and don't remember times too well, I think it was about a month later. I remember they called up and told me that they wanted me on the show, but I would have to go on as a different name because my opponent's name was Brian and he was already confirmed. They said I could either go on with another name, like a nickname or middle name, or wait for the next season. I asked if I could go on as Pokey, because that was my nickname at the time. They said yes, and I remember filming day was the day after Halloween 1989. I remember that because I was trick-or-treating the night before, and I was too nervous to eat my candy.
That fast, huh? So how did you know your partner, Carrie?
Carrie was a family friend. She was a year older than me and very tomboyish. Being that I was the one orchestrating this, I wanted to audition with a girl who was good at sports and outgoing to increase my chances of getting on the show.
That was definitely good strategy because it did get you both on the show. Now, the first stunt that you both played was the slop machine, which was one of my personal favorites. Could you believe that you got 3 candies in a row?
Yeah, I was really shocked that I got 3 candies in a row, to be honest. I actually wanted to get slopped once because it looked fun, but I was happy to win. Kind of amazing that both players on the red team got slopped all 3 times. I remember it was stale M&Ms that came down on my head and it hurt a little.
I guess stale M&Ms would hurt. How long did it take Carrie and the girl from the red team to get clean during the break?
I don't remember exactly, but not too long. They both knew ahead of time that their stunt was going to be in the water, and they were told to wear a bathing suit under their clothes. The slop was water-based, so it probably came out easily, and they just got a new pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
Now, only Carrie would know this because she was in the pool for the second stunt, but I've always wondered, was the pool heated?
I don't know, but I'm sure it was heated. I don't remember them complaining about it being cold, which they probably would have. I recall that while the stunt was going on, I was standing on the bridge with the other Brian and tried to chat with him, but he was ignoring me. I remember thinking he was a jerk. Also afterwards, Carrie told me it was hard to see while in the water because the goggles were fogging up, and she was upset that the other girl was bumping her basket, trying to mess her up. You can see that on the show. She was surprised she won that stunt.
Not only did you have the rare occurrence to get 3 candies in the slop machine, but you even had the rarer occurrence to have the lead 150-0 going into the Grand Prix race. How confident were you that you were going into the Funhouse?
I watched the show every day after school, and never had I seen a team up 150-0 going into the race. I was shocked, but thrilled, of course. At that point, I started to think we were going to win for sure.
The race for the day was a track and field race, which did not include pushing your partner in something. Were you happy that the Grand Prix race was like this?
I don't remember feeling one way or the other. The track and field was definitely easier than having to deal with pushing something. The whole token bank thing was new to us, as it hadn't been on there before on previous aired shows, so that kind of threw me back a little. The best part of this race was at the beginning. You see the girl on the red team forget to grab the token on that first hurdle. There was a rule that said you were not allowed to go back, and you traded lanes the second time around. So right away I knew that we were going to get those 2 tokens. I just took my time.
How many tokens did you try to grab out of the token bank?
I remember when I pulled out my hand, I had about 4 tokens, 3 blues and 1 white. You can't see it on camera, but as you can imagine, I was happy.
JD only had to insert 3 white tokens for the win, but just for fun, did they insert the rest and see what your true final score would be?
No, they didn't. What you see on TV is what happened. Once we surpassed them, they just stopped and said we won. Why rub it in, right? I should probably, for the fun of it, add it up someday just to see. I did used to think that it would have been awesome if I just ran by the token bank to win the race and get the 25 points. That would have given us 175 points, and after the red team put in all their tokens, they would only have had 150 points, so we would have beaten them without even putting any one of our tokens in. Wouldn't that have been cool? I wouldn't complain, though.
Now this is the part that I'm really excited to talk about, running through the funhouse. Were you given a quick run-through of the funhouse before you shot the run?
Yeah, before the show they did a small run-through of the stunts so we would all be familiar with them, and they also ran through the questions, with different ones before. I remember the question they asked for me and the other guy was, how many points do you get for a slam dunk in basketball? 1, 2, or 3? He buzzed in first and said 2. I realized then that I had my hand on the buzzer wrong and corrected it for the real show, which I feel allowed me to buzz in first. Answering the question was very important for me because those questions were always so easy and dumb, and the person who didn't buzz in first always looked dumb, so I got lucky.
After watching your run through the funhouse, I have to ask the obvious question, why didn't you go down the water slide?
We didn't go down the slide because both me and my partner didn't really want any of the prizes near there and thought it ate up a lot of time. Before the taping, they gave us a map of the funhouse and the prizes for the day so we could map out what we wanted beforehand. I wasn't too proud of my performance in the funhouse. I got a little lost in that fridge and didn't move as fast as I should have at the very end. When my partner was going to tag me, I was going to quickly jump in the pool and grab that money tag, but time ran out and I just fell instead on that revolving thing.
Between you and Carrie, you grabbed a musical keyboard, a basketball backboard, a home recording studio, and $300 cash. Do you or Carrie still have any of those prizes today? And how did you spend the money?
I don't have any of the prizes anymore, but I definitely used the keyboard and home recording studio to death when I was younger. The basketball backboard, ironically enough, the prize that I wanted, ended up not ever being used. It stayed in my parents' garage forever because we had no place to put it. I have no idea what happened to it. We probably ended up giving it away. I don't remember what I did with the $300. I think my parents just put it in the bank for me. I have no idea what Carrie did with her stuff. She lived about an hour away from me, so we weren't super close.
Just out of curiosity, even though you got to go through the real thing, did you get a copy of the home game of Funhouse?
No, we didn't. Only the losing team got that prize. Also, the losing team got to go down the slide at the end of the show, and we didn't.
Okay, it's now time for the other obvious question. What were JD, Tiny, and Jackie and Sammy like off camera? And did you get to talk to any of them after the show?
They were all pretty nice. I don't remember really speaking to any of them at length other than a little banter with JD. I barely remember seeing Tiny at all. Something that I remember was I recall being surprised with how short Jackie and Sammy were. As you see, they were our size, which couldn't have been more than 5 feet tall.
Also out of curiosity, if you were able to take one prop from that show besides your uniform, what would it be?
I don't know. Never really thought of that. A price tag would have been cool. We did get to take our outfit home along with the British Knights tennis shoes. I still have the shoes in the attic, and you can see the colored slop on the laces. I also still have the name tag that says Pokey on it.
Personally, I would have taken either a cash tag or a token. Did you keep in contact with Carrie through the years?
Carrie and I were never super close, especially being that she was a year and grade older than I was and living an hour away. But we would see each other every few years from time to time. Every time we were together, though, we always reminisce about our Funhouse experience. I last saw her a few years ago at a friend's wedding. She's doing well and got really pretty.
Would you try out for any of today's game shows?
Oh, I would definitely go on a game show nowadays if the opportunity presented itself. I'd love to go on Deal or No Deal or The Price is Right. We'll see.
Thank you, Pokey, for talking with us today, and thank you for joining us for the Contestants Corner. Please leave a comment below if you want to see more videos like this. Until then, I'm Brian, your game show junkie, saying See you next time.